that your final answer? That's a good way to kick off the interview.
Yeah. Hey there, this is Bill Kelliher for the band Mastodon.
And I'm Brann. I'm also from Mastodon.
Oh, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
Well, you are here and you're watching PITCAM TV.
I guess it's all kind of based on my own personal experience with albums dating back to my childhood when I would get excited about an album coming out. There was absolutely no way that you could get any information about the album except for through maybe a rock magazine or something like this. There was no YouTube and there was no leaked albums. You couldn't get like the new Slayer album before it came out. And
If you saw a picture of it before it came out, you'd be excited about it.
I'd be excited about that picture, you know. And I think that those were probably all planned events by the management team and the band themselves, discussed amongst each other what they were going to do, how they were going to roll out their campaign. So we like to treat our campaign similarly. It's much harder to keep your album cloaked in secrecy these days, but we like to, tantalize our audience with little bits of information here and there that come out and build anticipation, much like you would for Christmas time.
If you start putting out too much information too soon, it's like you put the album cover out, all the names, everything. Everyone's like, okay, well, why? It's been 2 months, 3 months. Why haven't you put the record out yet? Because when you're dealing with record companies and they have a lot of bands that they have a certain cycle and they come out, at certain times. Every time we record a record, it's not like it just comes out the next month or the next week or whatever. It always takes a lot of preparation for proper, anticipation factor. You got to pump up each market and.
I like to try to get people excited about it so that they. And let everyone know that it's coming, and then
they buy it when it comes out.
And hopefully they're happy.
A lot of times, in this day of the internet and information goes, from one person spreads like wildfire to 1 million people in a couple days. So you don't want the record to leak out there because then no one will buy it. I mean, in this day and age, people barely buy records anymore in the first place, so we're trying to still hold on to that Christmas time surprise.
The ideas for the teasers really were it just kind of developed organically over time. We had a month and a half that we were recording the album, and we, there's some downtime there when people are doing tracks, and we have this friend of ours, Jimmy, that's hanging around with a camera filming everything that's going on, so naturally you want to you think might as well do a skit or do something.
Get as much information into the videographer's camera just for use later, with like DVD behind the scenes or whatever. And we thought, oh well, let's take some. He did a really great job. They're really perfectly put together, and they're very they're interesting and they were funny and humorous at the same time. So. Because that's the kind of band we are. We're very serious when we write our music, and we take that extremely serious. But then we have to have some sort of,
We're very funny.
Way to vent.
You can't tell. You wouldn't be able to tell right now.
No.
But we tell jokes.
Fart jokes.
We
play games.
He can fart on command. Let's not command him. This room's too small for that. But we're very funny. And we know how to show it. So that's why we release those videos. They have almost nothing to do with the album. They really don't have anything to do with the album at all. Maybe Troy's does a little bit and Bill's does a little bit. So yeah, they're just fun little things to put out there just to kind of get the ball rolling with the new album. It's kind of just a mechanism, a tool to
get some heads to turn.
Yeah, get people like, oh,
what's that?
Cool, I'm really excited about the new album that they didn't tell me anything about. And
it just gets people talking, and then like we're getting closer to the date, so like okay, now we're starting to drop some hints and drop some trying to be creative about it instead of just boom, here's the record.
Yeah, and pretend if you just drop the record, if you just put it out, then it almost seems like you don't care about it, or I guess that's how we feel about it, because we care about it, so we want it to do well, and that's our little baby. We're sending it off to school. We want to make sure that it's ready, and everything's good with that. So yeah, little teaser videos. There'll be a serious video soon. So comes from the last year and a half of the band and the people in the band. Bill over here, and we had some.
The inspiration came from real life, traumatic things that have been happening to us, and that's a lot of times the impetus for us to write something. For me, my mom got very ill last year, and that's right around the same time it was time to start writing the record anyway. And I'm always writing, and it kind of kept me, focused on not going crazy thinking about her all the time and just crying. It's just I'm just gonna take this, this bad thing and try to turn it into being productive and keep my mind off it. Because when someone has a terminal illness, there's nothing you can really do but sit and watch from afar. My mom wasn't in the same city as me, and I would spend a lot of time flying back and forth, and every time I'd come back, she's still up there suffering and sick, and it was just I have to go back to work. I have to take care of my family at home, and spent those days with Brann just writing the music to everything, and was very productive about it. So we just kept the ball rolling, and I guess the riffs and the inspiration, I want to say and believe that she helped me write it, or helped us put it together. I think when the band first started, because we had a fifth member who was a singer, we were a riff-driven, for a long time we were a riff-driven band. I think we still are.
We still are, yeah.
I just think that we're now focusing more on how to complement the riff with vocals, because over the years we've managed to become very good singers. On the records the vocals are very prominent, and there's a lot of melody going on, and things kind of shift as the band matures, and it's not all technical all the time, because we have this more emotional attachment to touch people with, to connect with people, rather than just let's see how fast we can play this riff, or how many notes we can fit into this song, or whatever. It's more, because me personally, when I hear beautiful melodies and harmonies and singing and heavy riffs under it, that's the best kind of music. I'm not one to just listen to super growly vocals with this fast beat you can do or whatever. That doesn't really do much for me.
Yeah, gonna need something else to latch onto. It's more fun to search for melody to put over the riffs, So over time we've become more vocal centric, and we now the vocals are front and center for a lot of the songs. There's still a lot of very riff. All the riff always comes first. We've never been a vocal first band. So everything that we've done, but now, sometimes some of the parts that maybe the vocals aren't as great, we can't really find a place, we can't really find a great vocal melody to lay over something, then sometimes that riff goes away because it doesn't need to be there, because there's nothing that's amazing that can go over the top of it vocally, So.
And we try when we write.
Yeah,
we try to, we try to write a lot of riffs that make sense, and then we try to sing over almost everything to see if we don't want to have any filler. You know what I mean? So back in the day, we might just write a bunch of riffs in a row and scream over it, and that was kind of just what we knew. But I think we just pay more attention now to what the real meat and potatoes, heart of the song, the emotion that's there. Because once you start trailing off into a jam session or a show-off solo or whatever, you kind of lose that. So we're trying to keep it contained and a little more focused now.
When I said we're three reluctant singers, it's just we kind of are. None of us we're musicians first. We are, a bass player, guitar player, drummer. That sort of, because of the fact that we had a singer that left. the responsibilities fell within the people that were left in the band, and we just kind of said, you do that part and you do that part, and then over the last few records I've started to do some stuff, and that's why I say that we're reluctant, because it's kind of true. Even though we do kind of like the outcome, we delegate vocal responsibility all the time. You know, we're kind of like, you sing that part, you know. So it's we like how it sounds. It's fun, but if I could, I'd rather just play the drums, just because it's easy and I'm lazy. I think that there's a couple songs. I think that as far as the direction of the music, I felt like we explored a little more with this album. I feel like a couple of the songs are stripped down and kind of straightforward, but I think in general, across the album, I feel like they pushed a little further than the last two records and went into different directions as far as, like, I think that they're all trim and nice and neat, but I feel like they are more exploratory in the bridge sections, and that there'll be, 4 and 5 parts to bridges, in the centerpieces of each song tend to
so explore a
little bit more than on the previous two albums.
Yeah.
So that's how I think a song like "Show Yourself" is sort of a breath of fresh air from the density of the record, and even Sultan's Curse is, the first song on the record is not super traditional songwriting. It's more like some, it doesn't really harken back as you get into
turns
that
into
song.
a lot. It grows as a song, and it never goes back to the beginning.
Same with Roots Remain. That kind of, you have your A and B parts, and then you get to, there's like 4 or 5 parts that happen after that. You never go back to the beginning, So I don't know. I felt like we tried to push a little further in those sections and open those up and try to not be too formulaic, but understand what each song was and what needed to happen with it, and just go by our own barometer of what we like and what feels right, and organically, when it should end and all that stuff, using our own personal taste. But I feel like for me, it's more of a mix of, it feels like Leviathan and Crack the Sky meet. That's what I think. Well, who the fuck am I?